Bail reform has been a hot-button topic lately. There have been growing calls for changes to the system, including restricting bail conditions. It comes after a number of cases involving accused offenders who allegedly reoffend while released from custody. One vocal proponent for change has been Winnipeg's Mayor Scott Gillingham. The Mayor joins me now. Thank you so much for being here, Mayor Gillingham.
Thank you for having me.
So you've recently been highlighting real-world cases here in Winnipeg where offenders with lengthy criminal histories have reoffended, sometimes violently, while out on bail. What are you looking for when it comes to bail reform?
Ultimately, we're looking for changes in federal law that makes communities safer, that keeps violent repeat offenders who maybe have a history of breaching their court orders and offending again, keeps them off the street for longer. We need a safer city, we need a safer province, we need a safer nation, and part of that is to keep repeat violent offenders who breach their court orders off of our streets.
So you are heading to Ottawa to speak at the House of Commons Justice Committee. What message do you plan to bring there?
I think that's the key message, is that we need safer communities. And unfortunately, you know, when I talk to residents or they talk to me in the shopping, you know, at the grocery store, whatever the case may be, they talk about losing faith in the justice system when they see repeat violent offenders breaching court orders and going on while on bail to commit more crime. So my message to Ottawa is going to be that the laws need to change to prioritize the protection of our communities.
So we've seen politicians kind of get their hands slapped for potentially stepping over the line. Premier Wab-Kinew publicly disagreed with the judge's decision just last week to grant bail to a driver accused in a fatal crash. We've heard from the legal world, them saying criticism from politicians on court matters can be inappropriate and undermine the rule of law. So how do you respond to that? Is this part of your role as a politician?
It absolutely is part of my role as a politician. It's part of every politician's role. And I'll be honest, if the Defense Lawyers Association of Manitoba, doesn't appreciate what I'm saying, then I'm fine to be in that position. This is about how the public feels and what the public has seen. And I'm giving data, real data, in my weekly releases about cases of individuals who've been convicted of crime, who have breached bail orders time and time again, some of them going on to commit violent acts, including and up to homicide. And so the system may be working in some cases for bail, but it's not working in enough cases. You look at the horror of Hollow Water First Nation, what happened here in Manitoba, at the beginning of September. That individual was out on bail, committed horrific crimes against individuals in that community. For that community, bail didn't work. And too often in our society, people are breaching their bail orders and causing violence in our community and wreaking havoc in their community. The system has got to change to prioritize the public safety of Winnipeggers and people across this nation.
Do you think the public has lost faith in the system and that the system is working?
I think some people have. I mean, they've told me. Some people have told me flat out. But I don't think we're beyond hope. What I do appreciate is when I called, when Mayors Fawcett and Knox and Kathy Valentino and I sent the letter to Justice Minister Sean Fraser. To his credit, he picked up the phone and called me. He seems to be very open to what we're calling for. He does indicate, the federal government has indicated they're going to bring forward some legislation on bail reform. I'll wait to see what that is ultimately, but until then, I'm going to continue to give weekly updates of cases where people breached court orders while on bail and committed more crime, because we're going to keep raising our voice and raising this issue until changes are made to protect the people of Winnipeg.
Mayor Gillingham, we know our jails and our prisons are overcrowded. They are already over capacity. There's been some pushback to changes to the bail system, saying there's simply nowhere to hold more people. Where do you see and what do you see as a solution?
Well, one of the things I'm calling for is a greater investment in rehabilitation. Let's not just put people in prison and throw away the key. There's got to be, better investment in the possibility of changing people's lives when they're in prison. So we need to see that kind of investment as well. But quite frankly, this is going to sound harsh, but if I, as mayor, have to choose between the safety of my community or putting more people in a full prison, If it's about putting more people in a full prison because they're violent repeat offenders, that's where they need to go, because the safety of Winnipeg is more important than anything.
We've heard from legal experts that the majority of these cases where people are repeat offenders in these violent cases are outliers, and that the current system really does work. So is an overhaul really necessary to address these minority cases?
That's like saying airplanes land most of the time. There's always room for improvement. Even if there's anomalies, there's room for improvement in this justice system. We need to see the improvement and the changes so that fewer people are the victims of violence of individuals who are out on bail breaching their court orders. It's cold comfort to say to communities like individuals and families in Winnipeg who've been victims of violence, or the folks of Hollow Water, well, bail works most of the time. It didn't work it's not working in enough cases, and we need to see the changes, and the changes that need to happen now. We need safer cities. Winnipeg needs to be a safer place. Individuals who have a history of violence and a history of breaching their court orders and disregarding their bail conditions need to be held longer. I think there needs to be changes to the statutory release laws as well, so that people who've proven that they're repeat offenders are forced to serve their entire term. So we can make some changes, and we need to make some changes to our legislation federally so that our cities are safer.
Well, we know that meeting was originally scheduled for this afternoon, and it was rescheduled for later on. So we look forward to hearing from you after you speak in Ottawa. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.